Russia is the biggest country in the world, but if you visit RussianRailways.com, you can buy a train ticket from Moscow all the way to Vladivostok. This journey will be 6,000 miles and to take you across 8 time zones, all the way to the Pacific Ocean in 7 days. The country of Russia is much larger than any other country, though the next 3 biggest, which are Canada, the USA and China, are less than 60% its size. So you might wonder, how did it get so big? What if I tell you that Russia hasn't always been so large? Its journey began back in the 800s as a small kingdom centered on Kiev, and stayed small for the next 700 years. And for much of that period, they were ruled by these guys, the Mongols. But eventually though, the Russians defeated the Mongols, and then their appetite of expanding their small empire into a big one suddenly grew. But they had one problem. As they gazed east from their new capital in Moscow, there were no natural borders between them and the Mongols. The lands in between, known as the steppe, were flat and hard, which made them perfect for warriors on horseback like the Mongols to invade and conquer, and a nightmare to defend for the Russians. In a world where the rule was to conquer or be conquered, the Russian leaders of that time, known as the Tsars, began a series of wars against their neighbors that put them in control of most of the steppe lands of Asia by 1700. During the 1700s, Russia also conquered Siberia, which is the frozen northern lands of Asia. Here, the initiative of expanding the empire belonged not to the Tsars but to the hunters and merchants whose hunger for expanding were drawn by the vast populations of animals like bears and minks. The furs that protected these animals against the cold fetched high prices in West European countries. The other thing that made the Russians want to expand into Siberia and beyond was that the people who lived here weren't Russian and didn't speak Russian, and also they were weak, thus making them easy prey to invade on and conquer. When the Russians successfully swallowed Siberia into their growing empire, the country changed. It became a multi-ethnic empire. But this didn't stop them though. They kept on expanding their empire to the east all the way to here, which is modern-day Alaska. After being tired of expanding east, the Russians started expanding their empire to the west by absorbing Ukraine, Belarus and some parts of Poland. Then they went south across the Caucasus Mountains to attack the ancient kingdoms of Armenia and Georgia. They then finished their expansion of the empire by conquering Central Asia, which they grabbed because they were worried that the British would if they didn't get there first. By 1900, Russia had an empire of more than 80 million square miles, thus making it the largest country in the world. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.